listening to Sports Talk 916 with Greg Bull and Coach Greg Veroza.
If you'd like to participate in this show and listen live, there's a number of ways to do it. You can go to the Mixlr app, or you can follow us on Facebook Live every Sunday. You can also go on the wildfireradio.com
No, you can't.
Don't
do
website
it. Don't do it. We're
and
not
listen
there
to
anymore.
us Tuesdays at 3 o'clock Eastern,
No,
12
we're
o'clock
not there
Pacific.
anymore. Don't go
And
there.
if you want to contact us, head over to our website at sportstalk916.com. There you'll find all of our social media feeds, bonus after-hours content that you won't hear anywhere else.
Hello? You gotta remind me what to do. It's been so long. Welcome. It's Sunday and it's sports, and this sounds horrible. I sound like I'm in an echo chamber.
Well, let's fix that. Go.
1, 2. There you go. There you go. That's a little. Well, no, that's horrible. That's
Whatever.
right.
You're fine.
Welcome, Sports Talk 916, episode number 250. 250. They said it went last. I'm Coach Greg. Well, I'm back. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been here. Been swim meets the last couple of weeks. My friend, Mr. Chief, Greg Bull, together, like Mike Barnbaum likes to say, we're the two-headed monsters of Sports Talk 916. Welcome.
What's up?
Nothing much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
You threw all your, you had some little health issues, not with you, with some family members, and everybody's doing good?
Yeah, everyone's doing fine. Now I'm dealing with health issues.
Are you?
I get to go in tomorrow for a consult for a hernia.
Oh, shit. I had one of those when I was like 9.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, really. Have fun.
So,
Buy some frozen peas.
right? How was swimming? How was your meet?
Swimming was good. We had 2 different swim meets. Lot of good swims. We took second in one, which we had won the last 3 years, but we're down a little bit. And then last weekend we took 5th out of 50 teams. Actually found out that one of my swimmers swam 2 weeks in a row, set multiple meet records while she was passing kidney stones.
Nice.
So she's badass.
That sounds like fun.
No, it wasn't. For nobody.
Right, because I'm sure you had to hear about it.
I had to hear about it a lot. It wasn't fun at all. So, but it was fun. Season's over with now, so we get a little bit of a break, and we'll move on. So now I'm back to coaching water polo.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm helping out with the El Camino Eagles.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
And slinging houses on the side.
Yep.
Cool. So let's jump into a few things. Where do you want to start? You want to start with baseball? You want to start with...
You know what? I'll let you decide.
You want to start with Urban Meyer?
Ooh, that might not be a bad place to start.
One of the greatest, if not the greatest baseball players of all time, had his jersey retired yesterday. We can start with that.
You pick it.
Let's start with that.
Okay.
Let's start with Barry Bonds. Because
Barry Lamar Bonds.
Barry had his jersey retired yesterday by the San Francisco Giants. And
Saw part of the ceremony. It looked like it was pretty good.
it was well done. It
Yeah.
was.
They always do a pretty good job on that stuff.
It was. What's up, James?
James was there.
Yeah, it was. He asked me if I was there. I said no. And he said, "Would you buy a beer?" And I said no. And he said, "Well, you could have bought one of your 25% of your listening audience a beer had I been there." But no, it was a very well done ceremony, a very long ceremony. But I think it was rightfully long.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy literally put the Giants on the map. You know, in San Francisco at least, he single-handedly is the reason that we have AT&T Park.
Absolutely.
Without it, there's no, well, at the time, Pac-Bell Park, there's no Giants baseball in San Francisco as we know it. They probably don't even stay in San Francisco if it wasn't for Barry Bonds signing there in 93.
Well, he would have. They agreed to buy the team before they signed Bonds, but
Right, but to keep them there, I don't know that he would have been there long term, or they would have been there long term.
Well,
because
not
Candlestick wouldn't have lasted.
No. And The one thing I don't like about Barry is he's quick to point out that he was the one responsible for Pac Bell Park or AT&T Park.
The problem is he's not the only one that does that, though.
Yeah.
So everyone does that now. And, I mean, deservedly so. I mean, it's true.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's just not me to go around going, hey, man, I'm the reason Sports Talk 916 is still on the air.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that's true, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's not.
You know, all the Giants retired jersey players were there, which was cool. Some former players and former coaches. He gave a really long speech. There
were even a couple players that paid their own way to come out.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty cool.
Or at least one.
And then they had like a video tribute that included Pudge Rodriguez, Tom Brady. I only saw a few bits, but I recorded the whole thing. I missed a lot of it, but I got to watch Barry's speech, and you know it was humbling. It wasn't the normal asshole Barry Bonds that you saw with the media before, and I think he's finally realizing that that wasn't going to get him through through his retirement. And then the coolest moment of all of them, I don't know if you saw it or not, but they retire his number. They uncover the 25 up there on the left, up on the left field railing, and they have 25 stamped out in the grass. So it was like painted in the grass, basically a giant number 25 out there. And they go through all the stuff. They clear the field. Ty Block in the infield comes running out to take the field to start the game. And who goes out to left field in a number 25 jersey? Barry Bonds. And he runs out for one final time, takes his position in left field, gets a huge ovation from the fans.
In an Armani suit, right?
No, he had his suit, pants, and shoes on, but he was wearing a 25 Giants jersey, his hat, he had his glove.
Nice.
Like, he was out there, and it looked right. Like, other than the pants. And Crooked Kuiper, like, he could probably still do it.
I'm sure he could.
Then they had one final surprise. They had Johnny Gill of New Edition, one of Barry Bonds' good friends, sing the national anthem. And it, in my opinion, was terrible.
Really?
He tried to put so much of his own flair. He'd say he'd do a little phrase and then stop and then do that phrase again, that line again with more emphasis. And I didn't like it.
That hurts. I'm a big New Edition fan. I love those guys. I saw him in concert in Oakland. And
to me, it wasn't that great of a national anthem, but it is what it is. And then the Giants got thumped 4-0.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. See, I always was under the impression that the Giants had traded for Bonds when he originally came here. I never really looked into it because I was a kid. In '93. I was 6, barely 7. So I never really dug into it. All I knew was Bonds was a Giant my entire life, and he's the reason why I was a Giants fan.
So you didn't know he played for Pittsburgh?
I knew he played for Pittsburgh, but I assumed my whole life that they got him via trade. I didn't know that he signed as a free agent.
Yeah.
And when they interviewed him about it, they showed a clip about it, and he said that they showed a clip of his original press conference, and he said that his agent called him and said, "Hey, we have an offer from the Giants," and he says, "I'm in." He didn't even know what the contract was at the time. It was 4 years, $43-something million, and he had no idea what the contract was. He just said, all I know is I was supposed to go home, and that's where I was. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then, obviously, the other thing I think is super cool is, while his dad couldn't be there, obviously his dad passed away a number of years ago, they both wore 25. So, essentially, they retired, Bobby and Barry yesterday. And I think that's a true thing because I think if Bobby Bonds isn't a coach and a player for the Giants and his link to Willie Mays, you don't have Barry Bonds coming here on a blind
no. But Barry grew up as a Giant. I mean, he literally grew up in the clubhouse. I remember when they did sign him, there was some controversy because he wanted to wear 24. He didn't want to wear 25.
And he got permission to wear 24
he did.
From Willie Mays, and then he realized, maybe that's not the right idea. Realized that 25 was available, which is the number his dad wore.
Right.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. So, but that was controversy for a week or so that he wanted it, and people were floored that he would be, ballsy enough to ask Willie Mays to take his number off the wall.
I think though, if it wasn't for the fact that it was his godfather, I think that would be a lot.
Well, that's
more.
why he did it. That's why he did it.
And that's why he wore 24 was because of him. But I think it would have been a lot more atrocious if Bonds just came over, with no family ties at all to Willie Mays and just said, hey, I want to wear 24.
Oh, you couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I mean, even Barry Bonds couldn't have done it. But with those family ties, it would have been interesting had he worn 24. What would happen? Would they have re-retired 24 and have both Mays and Bonds on the outfield wall with 24, or do they not have the ceremony at all?
I don't know. They don't have names on the numbers, so I guess it could just been 24 up there.
Twice?
Just left it up there once.
Wow.
The thing is, and the Giants have only retired 9 numbers, and we'll get back to Bonds here in a second because there was a lot of hoopla again around the controversy of the steroids, of what he did and did not do, and all this other stuff, and should he be retired and honored and all this other stuff. But I know the Giants don't retire a lot of numbers. There's 10 total.
So fun fact, there's been over 30,000 Major League Baseball players. 199 numbers are retired.
Wow. Unlike the Sacramento Kings, 199 numbers have been retired in our organization. But I'm shocked that... maybe I'm not shocked, but I'm wondering if 22 will ever get retired. If Will Clark's number would ever be honored up there. Because of, not necessarily because of mind-blowing stats and, everything that goes along. Like Barry Bonds, his stats alone are worthy enough of 25 never being worn again.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The impact that Clark had on that team, in that organization, even to this day, is remarkable. So I'm wondering if 22 ever gets retired. But can you imagine, though, like, if this was if the Kings organization ran
the Giants,
oh
God,
you would have, just in the last 10 years, well, let's say 20 years, you would have number 9 for Matt Williams, you would have number 22 for Will Clark,
and Jack Clark.
Yeah,
same number.
You would have 55 for Lincecum, 18 for Kane. You would probably have 38 for Brian Wilson, retired because of the World Series stuff. They probably already would have retired Posey's number just because they know they're going to do it eventually.
And Bumgarner's.
Bumgarner's would be retired. It's ridiculous to think like how different organizations are ran by differently, people.
I mean, that's just look at. I agree with you 1,000%. The Giants are definitely a class act organization. They've paid off a multi-million-dollar stadium in under 20 years.
Yeah, they paid it off like 15 years ahead of time.
Yeah. We bitch about them having a bad season last year, and we bitch about them being about right at 500. But buying, they're always competitive.
What would happen? Would they
have
re-retired?
They do a great job of marketing their team. So even in a 100-loss season or 98-loss season, they're sold out almost every day.
Right.
If you had to complain about anything, maybe they hold on to players a little bit too long. They're a little bit too loyal to the players that they have playing, but I'm not sure that's really a bad thing. They're continually successful. They're doing things to
TJ, I agree 100%.
make the fan experience good. They're a class act. They're just a really class act, and they're willing to spend money. They hold on to their employees. Can you imagine if Vivek ran the Giants? Do you think we'd have Kruk and Kipe?
Hell no.
And John Miller?
They would have already cut those guys out of there. Another thing they had, I don't know if you noticed it, so I don't know if you watched any of it, but Bonds has 35 of the 72 splash hits into McCovey
I saw
Cove.
this. This was cool.
They have 35 giant baseball buoys floating out in McCovey Cove with the dates of each one of them on
That
there.
was cool.
That was pretty neat.
That
And
was
then I
really
saw
cool.
one clip of one of the kayaker guys going through them. And TJ says Bochy's 15 should be retired or will be retired someday.
I'm sure. Sure.
I think if anyone deserves it, I mean this run that they're on, even the last couple of years being as bad as they are, it's meteoric. It's something that no other Giants manager in history has.
Do you think Bochy's Hall of Fame material?
Yeah.
I do too.
With what he did as a player going into what he's done as a coach.
Hey, he wasn't the greatest player in the world, but
just
he's
the longevity,
definitely a great manager.
The longevity in baseball that he has, I think, is going to be crazy. I'd rather be too loyal to a player, not loyal enough to players like a certain team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, TJ. I'm just saying that if there's anything, they the Niners used to get rid of guys a year too early.
Right.
The Giants tend to hold on to guys a year or two too long. But, they're fan favorites. They're good players, and with the Giants, you always have that thought in the back of your mind that, okay, they're going to turn around, and they're going to turn around right now. Unlike with teams that we're real familiar with, there's no way.
Right.
They're just not going to get any better.
So, the big thing around Bonds, obviously, is the fact that he's still not in the Hall.
Right.
And that he likely won't get into the Hall as long as the current batch of baseball writers is still having a vote because of the quote-unquote steroid era. Now, it's funny to me that, obviously, 90% of the people that are defending Barry Bonds is saying he's not clean. I've never used the word clean with Barry Bonds. Innocent, to be proven to take steroids, which in the general sense of a steroid is an injectable synthetic, whatever you want to call it. Now, performance-enhancing drugs is another avenue that falls under the umbrella of steroid, but it's not technically a steroid. And then there's what Bonds was using, which
flaxseed oil?
The flaxseed oil and the cream, the clear that he was applying to his skin.
Right.
Which, at the time he took it, wasn't even banned.
No.
It wasn't even on the ban list. So technically legal that he was using it, but to get an advantage, it became a problem. And then there's the whole Balco thing, where the owner of Balco wouldn't testify against Bonds and went to prison for it. But ultimately the grand jury found him innocent. And there's always this thing, oh, he's a cheater, he's a cheater, he's a cheater. Well,
it was never proven.
It was never proven, and I always fall back on, let's look back in time. Let's look back at Ruth and Mays and Aaron and all those guys. And Ty Cobb, and just the list can go on and on and on and on. The whole generation of baseball, history of baseball, and the term that gets thrown around a lot is greenies, the amphetamine that basically was used as
I said methamphetamine,
right? But it's
basically what it is. It's Red Bull before Red Bull ever happened.
It was an upper.
It's an upper. It's a stimulant. There were, from what I've heard, there were bowls, like candy dishes full of them, sitting all over the locker room, and guys took them all the time.
And apparently those weren't even banned until like 2000s.
No.
So you think about that. And then TJ had mentioned something yesterday, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but Ruth had tried injecting some sort of animal something into his system for a boost. And I'm sure he'll chime in here in a second. Yeah. But he got sick from it, and apparently it's well documented that he got very sick from it. So that right there is almost an admission of guilt, that he tried to take something that was going to enhance him. And, I got an argument on Keith Joganaz's post yesterday on Facebook, and Keith just stuck his fucking foot in his mouth like he always does. Ruth did it on beer and hot dogs and women. And no, he didn't. They
did it on greenies and amphetamines.
And they say that, well, they never proved, so prove that Ruth did it. Well, prove to me that they didn't do it, because it wasn't even on the radar back then that there was things that they could take to enhance their ability. And, it's just now that there's so much in medical, availability that Major League Baseball and all other sports had to put it on the radar. Back then, they didn't think nothing of it. But as long as there's competition and there's something to be won, there's going to be something that tries to enhance the game.
Absolutely.
Look at swimming.
Oh, those dirty as hell.
Well, not only that, but those late, what was it, two Olympics ago when the U.S. and all of them came out with those super suits?
Yeah.
That were like the one piece, basically wearing a giant condom that just cut through the water. That was a form of taking an advancement on something and making it better, giving you a competitive edge. As long as you can get a competitive edge, you're going to try to do it.
Right, and in swimming's defense, they actually banned those suits. Those suits
Right.
are no longer available. They were actually faster through the water than your skin, and so there were manufacturers legally giving you boosts. And so they now actually have records in tech suits, and they have records in textile suits.
Okay.
And so they're not, while they're not official, they're always, I always see this was the fastest swim in a textile suit. But my thing with Bonds is, I saw a video last night of his first home run as a Pittsburgh Pirate.
That little curveball that he dug out and golfed.
Right. But he was skinny.
Yeah.
He was small. And then you take a look at, then they showed, right after that, they showed pictures of his 73 home run year, and dude looked like a linebacker.
The thing is, though, he never looked like...
He was pretty yoked.
He was yoked.
And his head got bigger.
He was yoked in the arms, but if you look at the rest of his body, he looked just puffy,
right,
fat.
Well,
here's a sign of steroids too. I mean, I shouldn't say steroids because it's like I said, never accused of or never proven of it. But there's anyone that knows anything about sports knows that he took something.
Oh, absolutely.
You're an idiot if you say he was clean.
Right, but look at everybody in that era.
Yeah,
there's probably, I mean, obviously I don't know, but I would be safe to say that 90% of the players in that era juiced. I mean, I met a kid I was somewhere, I don't remember where. He was in the Cubs organization. I think I've told this story before. And he was a pitcher. And I said, so tell me about you. You know, what do you got? What's your pitch? You know, what's your strengths? He goes, I got a 92 mile an hour fastball. I can put it anywhere I want to. I'm trying to decide whether I want to start juicing up because 92 mile an hour fastball is not going to get me into the show.
Right.
So if I start juicing and I can throw 95 and I can locate it and I have a curveball and a changeup, I'm making millions. And so with that many people, I'm safe to say, I feel safe to say that there were 90% of the people juiced.
And that's not just Major League Baseball. That's across baseball.
That's part of sports.
General.
And sports.
90%, that's from single A all the way up to the base.
Right. And this kid was in double A at the time. It still doesn't help hand-eye coordination. It still doesn't help you with the swing. It still doesn't help you hit the ball better. Not more better, but you know what I'm saying. More better. It might make it go a little bit farther or a lot farther, but it's not. Still, you have to hit the ball.
And that's been my argument since day one.
Well, hold on one more. Just if he was still the greatest baseball player of his generation,
yeah.
If everybody else is juicing it and you're still better than everybody else, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
You know, I don't think anybody would have a problem with putting a little asterisk on the bottom of it saying, never proved, but, you know, was accused of using steroids or played in the steroid era.
Yeah.
The greatest player in the steroid era of baseball.
The problem is he's the greatest. He's one of the greatest players in and out of the steroid era.
Absolutely.
That dude came in like a fucking rocket ship out of ASU and put the league on notice in Pittsburgh when he was the size of a young, we'll call him a young man because he was little.
Yeah.
But the thing about steroids, regardless of Los is on here, it does help with injuries.
What it helps with is recovery. Not necessarily from injuries, but just recovering in general. That you can do a workout, you can juice up, and your body's going to recover from that workout a lot quicker. That's why those guys get so buffed is they're able to do more workouts, more intense workouts in a shorter duration of time.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, though, and like I said, my argument always falls into the same. And again, I've never once said he was clean. He definitely took something, but to say he took a steroid, which again, by definition, is an injectable pharmaceutical, manufactured pharmaceutical for whatever it is, he never was proven to take those. But regardless, if you went down to Gold's Gym right now, and found the big, and I guarantee you, if you go down to Gold's Gym right now and you hang out, and this is hella creepy, but hang out in the locker room during peak hours for like 45 minutes, I'd be willing to bet you'll find someone walk into the bathroom walk into the urinal area or into the stalls with a little bag.
Really?
And you're gonna see someone go in there and start juicing. It runs rampant through these bigger box gyms. Go find that guy who's yoked out of his mind, who has to turn sideways to get through the doors. Hand him a baseball bat and say, go hit a 400-foot home run.
Exactly.
He's not going to be able to do it. You still have to have the God-given ability to hit a little round ball.
Let him try to even swing the bat. He couldn't do it.
A round ball with a round bat from 60 feet 6 inches away with 909 reaction time to decide where the ball's going to be and if you need to swing at it or not.
Yeah.
You're not going to... Steroids doesn't do that. It's not a magic pill that's like, oh, now, like, I can't take steroids and go play and dunk on LeBron. Like, it's not going to happen. No. You still have to have those abilities to do something. And with Bonds and McGuire and Sosa and Palmeiro and insert names here, Clemens, we could even throw it out there. It's not that they went from a AAA nobody to this, like, all-seeing god of their baseball team at that time. Bonds, Sosa, McGuire, they were already hitting 350, 375, 400-foot home runs. They just started hitting them 450 and 500.
Well, Bonds wasn't really... I mean, he was an all-around player, but it wasn't just home runs with him. He was a good... I mean, he had multiple MVPs before he even got to San Francisco.
Right.
You know, again, it's not going to help you hit the baseball any better. It's not.
Does yours allow you to? Yeah, mine doesn't allow me to expand it either. It doesn't. It doesn't help you be a baseball player. It elongated their careers.
Yeah.
And let's be real. After that '94 strike, without Sosa, McGuire,
there is some baseball.
Baseball's not around, and then Bonds took that level and brought it up even higher with the 73 home run season.
Right.
And then, Clemens, again, it doesn't even have to be it doesn't have to be hitters. Clemens was already a Cy Young contending all-star, amazing pitcher throughout his career with probably a 92 to 94 mile per hour fastball with all the slow stuff that he needed.
Yep.
And it bumped his fastball up a little bit, but it allowed him to log more innings. It allowed him to play longer and prolong that career.
I would think steroids actually has more of an effect on a pitcher than it does on a hitter. It always cracked me up that Clemens, and there's probably 3 or 4 seasons where Clemens would say, "Yeah, I'm just not sure I'm gonna play again. I think I'm gonna sit it out. I'm gonna start back up on June 1st." And
then come in yoked.
Yeah, it's like, old man, okay, Roger, what have you been doing this winter? Let's go. And you need to be out until June 1st? I wonder why.
Yeah, you've retired. Yeah, why would you retire every year?
And he didn't hide the fact that he was juicing.
Well, and that's the thing. If he retires or puts himself on an inactive list due to retirement, guess who doesn't get tested?
Exactly.
And then he goes, "Oh,
I think I'm feeling it. I'm going
to come back June 1st, which means on May 1st, I'm going to get off my cycle. That way, when I come back June 1st, it's out of my system and I test clean."
And most of the testing is done in spring training. A majority of the testing is done in spring training. So everybody's tested in spring training.
Barnbaum just mentioned, he says, "Hey guys, just arrived back in Sacramento from Angel Stadium of Anaheim. Did you guys see the throw last night's game?"
That was a rope.
Oh, no, that wasn't even a rope. That was just a fucking missile.
Laser.
That was amazing. I can't pronounce the guy's last name because he's a newer kid that is playing center field. But he goes out on like a out route for a wide receiver. And Mike, I'm going to correct you because on your Facebook post you said he made a shoestring catch. No. It was shoulder high.
Yeah.
But
he was running away from first base. He was going... I think I heard 140 feet, something like that.
Something crazy like that he covered. And then he starts his crow hop, and I'm like... And then he double crow hop, and I'm like, this isn't going to work. And then all of a sudden, that little double crow hop hesitation, that ball just sails, and I'm like... And
It was a rainbow.
And when
it was a rainbow.
When he throws the ball, you can't see the ball in the video, right? It just kind of floats. But if you watch the first baseman, he's just standing vertical with his gloves up, and he's like, boop, and you're like,
right to first base.
You're like, what the fuck? Like, at first I thought maybe he was just like deking the runner, thinking the ball was going to be there. No. I'm like, holy shit, that was amazing.
That was a great throw. Reminded me of the Cespedes throw a couple years ago. And they showed this where Cespedes picked up the ball in left field in the corner and threw a dime to the catcher. And the catcher just stood there and just tagged the guy. He was out. So,
Los says that's probably the best throw he's ever seen in baseball. It's gotta be top 3. And I say that because there might just be a throw that maybe we haven't seen that tops it. But in the last 20 years, that's got to be the most ridiculous throw that's happened. But back to Bonds, I mean, and Clemens and all those guys in that era. If you're not doing something to keep up with the Joneses, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
And that's the era of baseball that they lived in. And honestly, I think we've talked about it before. I've joked about it. Daniel Tosh talks about, he's a comedian that talks about how we have high definition television and we deserve to get the best athletes on TV that money can buy. And it says if they have to juice up and do whatever they need to do so that we can see them run faster, hit harder, and jump higher, then we deserve it because we're the ones paying their salaries. And he's paraphrasing the joke, but he basically says their life after sports is over anyway. So put it all out there on the line so that we could be entertained because after all, you're playing a game.
Well, I think the whole steroid thing, it's a joke anyway. I mean, look at the NFL. The NFL is supposed to be clean. Clean.
Right.
But look at these guys. Look at how many of these players that 5 years after they quit playing, they're 100 pounds lighter. And they're skinny and their heads are smaller. I mean, I guarantee you that 90% of the offensive linemen are juicing up. I would guess that
yes,
more than as many of running backs
maintain that weight and everything like that on their joints and all that and all their muscles, they need to be.
And one of the side effects is, and Bonds had problems with this, is your tendons don't get any stronger.
Right.
So you're putting these big, huge muscles with the same tendons and ligaments that you usually have on a normal person, and knee injuries go up. Hamstrings go up, calf muscles go. Those injuries go up. I mean, it's just a revolving cycle, and it all leads back to steroids. So, the number of knee injuries, the number of elbow injuries in pitchers, that to me points to maybe it's not as clean as we say it is.
Right, and I think that baseball, and maybe not so much now, but. Under Manfred, but I think under Selig, there was a lot of eyes turning away because they know that they almost lost baseball in the strike year, and there's still fans of baseball that, 24 years later, still aren't watching baseball because of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need these guys that are going to hit the ball that far. Steve Cropper says hockey's getting closer. Thank God, I've been going crazy over the summer. So Steve actually lives like 4 houses down from here.
Oh, does he?
A couple weeks ago, I'm out mowing the lawn, and I look down, and there's an envelope on the ground. The mailman dropped an envelope, and it was an autographed hockey puck. And
cool.
I look, and I'm like, oh, this is right down the street. So I walk it over to him, and he's like, oh yeah, I run.
Did you know it was a hockey puck?
I took it down to him, and he opened it, and he's like, oh yeah, it's a hockey puck, blah blah blah. And he runs a Sacramento-based San Jose Sharks fan page.
Oh, cool.
And got to talking to him, and I'm like, yeah, I've never been to a hockey game and this and that. And so he was talking about they do giveaways and they do a bunch of stuff on there in their group.
What's the page?
Shark Attack something. Steve, put
it up there. We'll plug it.
And
I'm joining.
Yeah, right. Have you ever been to a hockey game?
I've been to a couple. Yeah, they're great.
I've never been to a hockey
that's awesome.
game.
It's not. It's a completely different experience than when you watch it on TV.
And I told him too. I told him my weird stigma that I have about joining a fan base because I don't want to be a bandwagon fan.
Yeah, whatever.
And as this giant Sharks fan that he is,
Shark Attack
with an exclamation point. We'll plug it. I'm already in it. I'll plug it up on the page too. He gave me permission to be a Sharks fan. So
Wait a minute. I thought you were. Didn't you go through a whole thing about you were going to be a Golden Knights fan?
They did too good last year. Can't jump on it.
No. I thought you said that you were giving yourself permission, even though they had won.
No, I said
that you were going to you were going to be a Golden Knights fan.
If they didn't win the cup,
they didn't win the cup.
I could consider
they
it.
didn't win the cup,
right? But I got permission from multiple people, friends of mine, that when I posted that about the Knights, multiple people were like, "No, fuck that! You're gonna be a Sharks fan." So as of right now, what day are we on? August 12th, 2018. I'm officially announcing that I'm going to start watching hockey, and I'm going to declare myself a San Jose Sharks fan going forward.
You're going to have to do some homework.
Steve says I'm about to give you a tour of my cave now that the tent is removed from the house. Yeah, so I go over there to drop this puck off, right? Or this envelope off. And I walk up, and I'm, like, looking for the house because I'm looking at all the addresses. And there's a fucking, like, fumigation tent over a house. And I'm like, okay.
Was it beetles or was it termite? It's beetles. It has to be beetles. That's what they do with beetles.
So I walk up. I think it was termites. And I walk up, and then there's this dude just sitting in the front yard on a lounge chair with a laptop. And I'm like, are you Steve? And he's like, yeah. I was like, what's your last name? And he tells me, and I'm like,
oh, termites.
I'm like, this is yours. And he's like, oh, I don't. This is cool. I didn't even know I was getting it or whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, we're having the house fumigated, but there's been a lot of reports of people that have been breaking into houses with tents on them because they know no one's home. He's like, so I've been sleeping in my car for 3 days while I watch this. $12,000 worth of damage. That's fun. Wow. But anyways, yeah, we'll have to do like a live feed here on the show from your shark cave there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And yeah, let me know about getting some tickets off you so I can go to my first game this year.
It's not like I was saying. It's completely, the game is so fast. TV doesn't do it justice because TV can't keep up with the game.
Yeah.
And it's like the first time when we went to the Republic's game. Remember how we got out down the field? It's like, holy shit, these guys are fast.
Yeah.
Well, you watch a hockey game and those guys are fast on the ice and the game is fast. I went and saw I think it was the Canadians and Sharks. 1-0 the Canadians won, so I'm 0-1 at Sharks games, but that was probably the first or second year that they were here. It was at the Cow Palace. It's before the Shark Tank was even built.
Right, so awesome. But yeah, so Bonds deserves to be in the Hall. So does Clemens. So does Sosa. So does McGuire. I'm all about, like, those guys are a part of baseball history. If you're gonna have Ku Klux Klansmen that are known in the Hall, and you're going to have Ty Cobb, who knowingly and admittedly sharpened his cleats before games, and you're going to have guys...
He was an asshole.
Like Ruth, who there's reports of him using injectable items to get better, and you have your league dies. Put those fucking guys in the Hall.
Yeah.
Put a little asterisk. There's maybe call it the steroid era if you want to, but just put a little asterisk next to those guys that denotes that time frame in which they played. And if people want to do more research on it or have a problem with it, great. But they need to be in the goddamn Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So does Pete Rose, too, by the way.
But here's my question, though. If Sosa gets in... Yeah, Pete Rose does, too.
I don't think Sosa is...
Let me ask this, though.
Did you see they did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago on ESPN. He looks like a marshmallow man.
It's ridiculous.
It looks horrible.
All right, let's do this. Let's move on. We're gonna move on to the NBA schedule came out. And put them both in there. Just have like an Oreo bust. Yeah, why Edgar Martinez isn't in the Hall of Fame blows my mind. But we'll get to that. Let's pay some bills real quick. Hey guys, I'm excited to announce a new partnership with Antonio Pacheco from Folsom Lake Ford. Tony has been my go-to sales guy for a number of years for all of your questions in regards to the car buying experience, and he is the main guy that I trust in the Sacramento area for all of your car buying needs. Again, Antonio Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, 530-218-7069. Also going to remind you about Albert Chavez. He's the mortgage king. He's hooking people up with all the great deals on home loans, as many as 3-day closes, 9-day closes, 1-day approvals on loans. He's slinging them out there.
And then, so if you get a loan from Albert, I know a pretty good realtor too.
Yep, that's
put
nice.
2 into contract
Nice.
this week, so things are going good.
There's also one more that I want to plug here. There's a new training facility. They're not on board yet. They may come on board, but there's a new training facility out in Roseville, California, out by the DMV. It's called Absolute Flex Appeal. They're a brand new box gym that just opened up. Brand new facility. You get 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. access if you're a member. You just use a key code. No one has to be there. You can get in, get your workout in, get out. They are absolutely awesome. You should check them out on Instagram. Absolute_flex_appeal. Tyler is the owner out there. They are, again, fabulous. They have personal training. They have all the equipment you need. And a lot of Spartans, a lot of CrossFitters, and a lot of stage competition folks work out there, so you can get the nice push that you need. Check them out. Absolute Flex Appeal. Again, they're on Instagram. They're out on Gailey Road, Suite 110 in Roseville, 7351 Gailey Road. Give them a follow. Give them a call. They just put out a new thing on Groupon this week, so you can get in a month at a discount before the rates start going up out there. And go check them out. Again, that's Absolute Flex Appeal. So let's talk about the Sacramento Kings. So the Kings' schedule came out.
Sacramento Kongs.
Right. Did it say Kongs on the damn thing?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my autocorrect's a dick. Schedule got released on Friday. So we'll just kind of go through it real quick here. We'll take a look at some of the big matchups, and we'll go from there. And then once we get to this, we might just wrap up real quick on some fantasy football news for our upcoming league that we do every single year.
There you go.
Let's see. Kings open the season versus Utah, October 17th. It's a Wednesday night game.
So the first games, the season starts on Tuesday, right?
The season starts on Tuesday. The Kings open on Wednesday, the 17th of October versus Utah.
At Utah?
At the Golden One Center.
Ooh,
So Kings home opener
wow.
is the official opener of the season.
Wow.
Then they go on the road. At New Orleans, at Oklahoma City, at Denver. Home for Memphis and Washington. That's the first. Washington is the first national game on NBA TV Friday night, October 26th. And then, this is fucked up. And then they fly across country. At Miami, at Orlando, at Atlanta, at Milwaukee. Home for Toronto, Minnesota. The Lakers' first visit, LeBron James' first visit to Sacramento as a Laker is November 10th, a Saturday game. And then home for San Antonio, the new look Spurs.
It sounds like maybe like 3-10 to start off the season.
Let's see. Utah's going to probably be... Well, home openers,
That's
it's always
winnable.
a gamble.
That's
a
winnable.
winnable. At New Orleans, at Oklahoma, at Denver.
So win 1 out of 3.
So 2-2. Memphis home, Washington home.
3-3.
At Miami, should be a win. At Orlando, should be a win. At Atlanta, should be a win.
Well, I don't know about that.
Atlanta's not going to do shit this year.
I haven't looked at anybody.
And then at Milwaukee, that's a loss.
Yeah, maybe they'll be 500.
Yeah, they could be right around 500 then. I have to get to a Kings game. I've never been to one. I used to work in Oakland, and we would get tickets for free to the Warriors because nobody wanted to see them during the Hardaway days. That's Steve. And this guy right here. Oh no, you're not.
I'm not
Shit.
anymore.
We'll try to work out some giveaways this year with some of our other season ticket friends. Where did I leave off? Home for San Antonio, at Memphis, at Houston. Home for Oklahoma City. That's the second nationally televised game. That's also on NBA TV. At Utah, at Golden State. First bout with DeMarcus Cousins in Golden State is on November 24th.
If he's healthy.
If he's healthy. Home for Utah. Home for the Clippers, the 29th of November. That also is a nationally televised game on TNT. Home for Indiana. At Phoenix, at Cleveland, at Indiana, at Chicago. home for Minnesota. The Warriors, DeMarcus should be healthy for this one when they make their first visit to Golden One Center, December 14th. At Dallas, at Minnesota, home for Oklahoma City. Another NBA TV game against Oklahoma City in the Golden One Center. That's 2 of them. It's interesting. Home for Memphis, home for New Orleans right before Christmas. Day after Christmas, they're in LA against the Clippers. Home for the Lakers on December 27th, and then at the Lakers on the 30th. Opening up 2019 on a nice little homestand. Portland, Denver, Golden State, Orlando, all in a row. Then they go to Phoenix. Home for Detroit, Charlotte, and Portland. Then a nice... These road trips are brutal for the Kings this year, man. Like at Charlotte, at Detroit, at Brooklyn, at Toronto, at Memphis, at the Clippers. Holy shit. Home for Atlanta. Philly makes their first visit in February. By the way, happy birthday, Sean of Corner Pub Sports. Home for San Antonio, home for Houston, home for Phoenix. And then, I mean, it just kind of... the San Antonio game in February is also NBA TV. So they have a couple games. And then the final home game is going to be April 7th, which is my anniversary, so I won't be going to that game, against New Orleans. And they close the season Wednesday, April 10th at Portland. So the Kings have a couple stretches of very winnable games, but they also have a couple stretches of very rough,
long road trips.
Long road trips. So
this is one thing that Sports Talk Radio does all the time, and that's make predictions without doing any homework. Right. So what do you think? Off the top of your head, based on what we have.
35.
I'd be happy with 30.
They won 27 last year.
I'd be happy with 30.
I think 35 is a now that's barring injury and staying healthy and all that. I think 30 on the low. I can see 37, 38 on the high if they catch some other teams off guard. But I think 35 is going to be...
I think we have one more year in the 28 to 32 range. And I think one more year of letting those guys develop, letting them play together. And I think that even though Vladdy said if they weren't better in 3 years that he would quit, but
I think Vladdy's safe. I think
so too. He's done a great job. He's done a really good job of building this team, and it's a young team, and it's going to be together for a while, and there's some talent out there.
Yeah, for sure. 2 more things I want to talk about.
Okay.
First, it's the Urban Meyer thing. Do you think Urban Meyer keeps his job at Ohio State?
I think he should. I don't think he does.
If it turns out that he didn't actually follow protocol like he said he did and told somebody, do you think he keeps his job?
I think he doesn't, but I think he should.
Really? Even if he didn't report what he knew? With his coaching staff? Because it's supposed to be zero tolerance across the program. So if it's a player, he needs to report it. If it's a staff member, he should be reporting it. Now
and I hate to do this, but
the initial
there's also some questions on if it really was domestic violence, or if he was actually protecting himself because her mother has come out and said she doesn't believe the charges.
Okay, but that's not for him to determine though. If there's a report of either domestic violence or assault or self-defense or some sort of altercation that he's made aware of as the head of that program, he should be notified. If you're a boss and someone comes up to you and says, like, let's say you're my boss, and I come up to you and say, hey, so-and-so was beating on me, da-da-da-da-da-da, or let's flip it. Let's say my wife comes to you and says, hey, he was hitting on her. I need you to report it. She's scared to report it, blah, blah, blah. And then another one of our coworkers comes up and goes, you know what, I don't think it's real. And it turns out to be real, and you didn't report it, then that falls back on you a little bit. Because
but what if it's not real? And I'm not defending anybody. It's 66 visits by the local police department, and not one charge was ever issued.
But is it Urban Meyer's job to decide whether it's real or not? Shouldn't it be up to someone else?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Well, let me ask you this then: if he did report it like he says he's supposed to the higher ups, then I think he's free and clear.
Yes.
And if the higher ups didn't do anything with it, then whoever he reported it to likely needs to be fired. But if he kept it mum and it turns out that it is real, then I think Urban Meyer loses his job. And it's not necessarily maybe because he should, but I think Ohio State saves face by doing so.
Yeah.
And let's be real, Urban Meyer hasn't done shit with Ohio State in the last couple of years anyways.
What do you mean?
They haven't been in a bowl picture, have they?
Yes.
When?
Like the last 3 years, they've been in major bowls.
I mean like national championships. No one cares about bowl games. Anyways.
He's lost like 5 games in the last 10
10
years.
He's a bum. I need Urban Meyer.
Wow.
I need Urban Meyer.
I thought you said you were going to start following other sports.
There's no sports. There's no college football to follow right now.
Well, maybe start doing your homework on who's good.
That's not fun. No, but I have a scenario in my head that I need to play out. And in order for it to play out, I need Urban Meyer out of Ohio State.
And that is?
Okay, so hear me out.
Oh, God.
Urban Meyer gets fired from Ohio State. And they bring in the interim coach for the year, right? They bring in their offensive coordinator, whoever it is, before they make a full hire next season. In the meantime, the Baltimore Ravens are terrible this year. Michael Crabtree comes in, destroys their chemistry. Joe Flacco blows his vagina, and he's out. They fire John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh takes the job at Ohio State. And then for the next 5 years, we have the Harbaugh Bowl when Ohio State and Michigan play each other in their rivalry game. And it brings the Big 12 and college football to a whole new level because those two teams will get up even more for an Ohio State-Michigan brawl if it's a Harbaugh Bowl every single year.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
Bring it. That's
and then maybe Urban Meyer gets the Ravens job and turns them around and starts winning Super Bowls.
Right. It's all full circle.
That's right.
All right, last thing we need to do. We're on season 6 of Sports Talk 9 with Fantasy Football.
It's really been that long?
Yeah, we're on season 6.
Jesus Christ.
We're looking to do our live draft again this year. Barn Bomb, I know you'll be there. Or you weren't there last year, but hopefully you'll be there again this year for the draft. We'll do like a live draft party. Obviously, we always do it at Buffalo Wild Wings in Citrus Heights. If folks show up that want to be there, we can do a live show before the draft. If not, then we can just all come out, hang out, have some drinks, chill, whatever, and you can all hang out, watch us do the draft. There also will be a secondary league if anyone's interested in joining. It's a free league. We've done it the last couple of years. We call it Sports Talk 9162, where we do a online draft, and we can participate with listeners of the show as well. I'm thinking like the 26th, if we can get it in. The last weekend before the regular season. Well, second to last weekend, I guess there's still the September 2nd. Games kick off on the 6th this year, right?
Yes.
So is there preseason on the weekend before that? No, right?
No.
So the final preseason weekend is...
the final preseason game, I think, is the 31st.
Okay, so if we can get in to Buffalo on the 26th of August, which is the final Sunday in August...
It's going to have to be late, because I have a draft that we're going to Tahoe for on the 25th.
So are you coming back that morning?
I'll come back the 26th. So, yeah, I'll be all right.
So, like mid-afternoon, like we normally do, like a 1 o'clocker?
No, if we could go later, like 4.
Okay, we'll see.
Let me see. Hold on.
Or we can do it the weekend prior, the 19th. 19th won't work. My wife leaves for Washington for an entire week following that day. So
we can do the 26th. My draft's the 25th. So we can do the 26th. I'll just be home.
Okay. We'll make something. We're all good thing out to the team. We'll get it out to you guys, too, if you guys want to come hang out with us at Buffalo Wild Wings in Citrus Heights. Getting half ratchet used to be nice. Yeah, but the 26th, the whatchamacallit is the Buffalo Wild Wings is still nice. The neighborhood's not so much nice anymore. I never understood that. So is Ohio State and Michigan rivals, or isn't Michigan true rival of Michigan State? No, Michigan State is not a rival of Michigan. Who do you think said that?
Damn it, Barn Bomb.
Oh, come on, Mike.
Come on, Mike. You got to know this, man. It's all. Even I know that it's Michigan and Ohio. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Ohio
no.
State.
Yeah, no, that Mike. That would be like saying UC Davis's biggest rival is Cal Poly.
Right, or the Kings' biggest rival is Golden State, or the Niners and Raiders are
Kings
rivals.
have rivals,
or the
You have to be good
Niner-Raider
to have a
rivalry,
rival.
which doesn't exist.
right?
Hey, Vegas Ron, how's the stadium coming along out there in Vegas? I remember that Vegas Ron and I played. What? Played Bosconian at Birdcage. I don't know what that means. Woody versus Bo. It's been UM versus OSU for decades. Epic games and finishes, plus always plays for league titles. That makes it a rivalry. The border war. Yep, James hits it on the head. I used to cruise Sunrise Mall and play at the arcade at Birdcage Walk. Damn, that goes way back. So, Steve, you know Vegas Ron? Really?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Reuniting old buddies. We did. I pro Galaga.
Oh, Gallagher was the game.
Yeah, Galaga was the shit. I was talking about doing an entire. This is kind of off topic. We have 3 minutes to kill before we hit our hour. I was talking about doing like an entire video game sleeve tattoo, like down my arm. And the original idea up here to cover up the existing tattoo I have was going to be like a space scene with Galaga's ship and all the little aliens.
Oh, cool.
Because I need something dark to cover up what's already there. So
What's
throw
there
that
right
in.
now?
It's just like a biomech, shitty tribal thing. So I was gonna just black it out and do like the Galaga ships, and
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool, and then blend it into like Super Mario Brothers, and then into something else at the bottom. But now I'm thinking I'm just gonna do like a comic book style thing, like Batman at top with like the dark buildings and stuff.
Batman a superhero?
Kind of.
Is
It's like
he?
comic book stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Ron, are you from Rancho? They have a Galaga coin op. They do. It's not like the Knights. Most people here can give two shits about the Raiders. We need to improve education first.
It's not going to be about.
The Raiders moving to Vegas aren't so Vegas people will be Raiders fans. The Raiders are moving to Vegas so that it'll be easier for LA to get there and Oakland to get there. And by the way, we talked about this a little bit during the week. Khalil Mack's holdout, asking for $20 million a year. The Raiders don't have $20 million to spend. They don't have the money. So
Not only
this
that,
this Camille Mack thing is or Khalil Mack is going to it's gonna last a little while because they don't have the money to pay him. They can't pay them.
right? Which means the Niners are going to swoop in,
Ah,
get me
that'd be
that
nice.
trade. Damn it. So Khalil Mack, he's asking for $20 million. He makes like $6 or whatever it is this year, off his rookie deal. Every preseason game he's missing. He's losing $817,000, which, I mean, for him, if he's asking for 20, he's gonna get 20 eventually somewhere. That's a hell of a lot of, it's a hell of a small amount of money to lose, like to sacrifice. But god damn, that just makes me hurt. $800,000 to not play in a game. Right? I'll run out there and not play in a game.
Right.
They're gonna give me $800,000.
And even, you figure he's a starter, so he's going to play one series, maybe two in the first game. So that's $800,000 for playing 8 plays, and maybe not until the third game where he'll play a half. In the fourth game, he's not going to play at all. So.
Hold on. Ron, are you being dead serious right now? So he says over-under for stabbings at Game 1 at Raider Stadium is over-under 2.5 at the Bellagio. Are they really taking that type of side bets?
They can't.
Why not?
Because you can't bet on violence like that.
They bet on who's going to fucking... Look at the Super Bowl side bets. You're going to tell me that they can't work out a stabbing bet?
No.
Can't push it. TJ says push. Rod says you can't push a 2.5 unless a midget gets stabbed. Oh, this show's going downhill quick.
We have hit the bottom of the
On that note, guys, we are going to get out of here. Oh, boy, that's funny stuff. For Greg Veroza, I'm Greg Bull. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you all
Next week.
week.
Night.